Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today's look is a little intense, but I'm doing a makeup tutorial for the first time in forever. And I want to do something kind of like Ursula-ish. So that's why you see all the purple and the red lip that doesn't necessarily go with the purple, but hey, we're just going for the look, okay? So yeah, if you want to see more on how to get this look with all drugstore makeup and makeup that I've been loving lately, then just keep watching. It has been so long since I've done a video actually doing my makeup that I'm not really sure how to do this anymore. Hey guys, to start off, I'm going to use my favorite primer spray. It's not really a primer spray, but that's what I've been using it as. I'll explain in a second. Today, as you can tell by the title of the video, I'm doing all drugstore makeup in this Get Ready With Me. And I don't really have like a favorite primer from drugstore. I have a few that I really like, but I'm actually out of the ones that I really like at the moment that are drugstore. So this is technically a setting spray. It is by the brand Pacifica. It is the Coconut Essence Hydro Mist. I love this brand. They are cruelty-free and vegan. And a lot of their products are really like clean. So I've been using one of their face wash that I really like, and this spray is something new that I've tried from them recently, and it's super affordable, and yeah, I just really like it. So what I'll do is I'll just spray a few pumps before I put on any makeup. So I'll just spritz it over the face. The spritzer is really nice on this one as well. And I will rub it into the skin, not too rough, but like just making sure it goes around my face evenly. What's really cool about this spray is it actually has caffeine in it, which is really nice, and it makes your face feel really awake, which is why I like to spray it before makeup. It says for all skin types. It has coconut and caffeine in it, and it's supposed to be really hydrating, which I agree with for sure. So a foundation that I have been really loving lately from the drugstore is the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. This is what it looks like. I have the shade 410 if you're curious. It has SPF 25 in it, but I don't notice that as being a problem or overbearing in any way. This is just a really good, I'd say it's medium to high coverage depending on how you apply it. It's really lightweight on the skin. It's a satin matte finish, so even if you're dry, I feel like this wouldn't be an issue. I have dry skin, and I really like the way that this feels on my skin. This wasn't a hard one to pick for like my drugstore foundation I wanted to use, because most of the foundations that I really like actually are all drugstore anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to use this one today because it's something I've still been trying out recently. But so far so good. I've really enjoyed it on my skin. And to apply it, I'm just going to use my damp sponge. This is the Morphe sponge. I never really know whether Morphe is considered drugstore or not because it is affordable, but technically I don't know if it's drugstore or not. But the sponge is like $8 and I love it way more than the Beauty Blender. It's super affordable and it's really soft, so. I feel like this foundation would be really good for any skin type, especially if you're more oily. It dries down like super fast, so I'm feeling it now. It's like not sticky at all. So if you're the type of person who typically doesn't like to set your foundation, I feel like this would also be good for you. I typically always do just because I don't want it to move around on my face at all. But again, if like that's not what you're into, then I mean this would be the perfect foundation for that. Next, I'm gonna go in with the concealer that I have been obsessed with lately, and it is the Catrice Liquid Camouflage Concealer. This is what it looks like. I'm in the shade Porcelain. This concealer has been my favorite for a while. I got it off for a recommendation from Tati, if you watch her on here. It's just super like hydrating underneath the eyes, and it gives you good coverage without drying out your under eyes or anything like that. So I'm going to use the other end of my Beauty Blender to blend this out. And then after my under eyes are blended out and ready to go, I will highlight the rest of my face just to kind of even it out. So we will go ahead and put a few on the chin, on the high point of my forehead, and then on any problem areas that you may have. Okay, so now to set everything into place, this is also a powder I've been loving for a while and it's super affordable. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder and I have the shade Fair Light. I use this to set my under eye and any place I put concealer. I don't use this to set my whole face mainly because I don't really enjoy loose powders to set my whole face with. I will use a pressed powder after this. So I usually try to hurry to before my under eyes sink in, like the concealer sinks to any lines or anything. But just in case, I will go over right before I do the powder with the sponge to smooth out everything. But I also use the damp sponge to apply the powder underneath my eyes as well. This is a trick that I learned a while ago and I really like the way that it turns out after. So if you haven't tried this already and you struggle with like under eye lines and your concealer sinking in and everything like that, I would definitely try just using a damp beauty blender, any sponge to blend in your powder underneath your eyes. Just smooth that out and then I will just go straight in right here. I will smooth off any excess in the cap and then just go straight in. I also do this instead of, some people do baking, I guess is what it's called, where you leave the powder on underneath your eyes. I don't really do that just because I do have such dry skin that I feel like if I leave the powder sitting there and then try to wipe it off, that my skin will just look really patchy. So I feel like this is a good alternative to still making sure that your face is set in place, but not super dry and cakey and everything. Now I also carry that powder up onto my eyelid to make sure that my eyelids don't crease. Okay, so our under eyes are all good to go and set, but I'm gonna use a little bit more of this loose powder, like I said earlier, to set all the other places that I put concealer on. Quickly moving on to setting the rest of my face, I use the Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder. This is what it looks like. Mine is obviously very well used. I use the shade 1 Transparent. They also come in like colored shades, so like not just translucent. I can recommend those as well because I did try the one that's my skin tone and I did really like it as well. I feel like the formula is the same. So especially if you have like a deeper skin tone, I feel like this powder would also be really good for you because they have a few other shades. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is the e.l.f. powder brush. I love this for powder because of the flat top. Okay, so the next step for me is gonna be bronzer. This is just typically the order of how I do my face. I'm actually gonna use 2 today. I'm going to use one of my all-time favorites, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is what it looks like. And the smell of this, I'm sure you guys have heard if you enjoy makeup, this smell is amazing. But not just the smell of the product, like the product itself is just so pretty. Like, it looks beautiful on the skin. I have the shade Bronzer. There's a lighter shade and now I believe they have a darker shade too. So that's what it looks like. And I'm also gonna use the Balm Take Home the Bronze bronzer. This is what it looks like. I enjoy using it just because it's a little bit darker and gives a little bit more depth, but I really like the finish of this one where it's not like shimmery, but it's got like a sheen to it and it brings like life to your face and everything. So typically I'll go in with this one first, which is what I'm gonna do today, and then I will dust this over the top. And I'm gonna be using my Real Techniques blush brush, but I feel like it works really well for bronzer because it's big and fluffy, and yes, it's disgusting and I need to clean it. I am so sorry. So I'm just gonna dip my brush in and start going on the perimeters of my face with bronzer. Then a lot of times if I feel like I applied too much, I will just go back over with my powder brush and just kind of dust around where I put it, just to kind of blend it out and make it blend into the other powder. Bronzer is seriously one of my favorite steps in the makeup routine, just because I feel like it brings so much life to your face. And it just kind of warms everything up, obviously. Next, I'm gonna go in with my blush, which is from Burt's Bees. This is the Toasted Cinnamon blush. This is what it looks like. I am obsessed with this color. It's just kind of like a toasty, not like a bronzer shade, but like a just a warm blush shade. And I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. blush brush. This is what it looks like. I really like the tapered end, and I feel like it works really well to apply the blush evenly. And again, I will just kind of blend that out just a little bit with my powder brush. Okay, now that our face is looking somewhat alive, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the eyes. I just like to do this. So I'm gonna be using two different eyeshadow palettes today. There's one from e.l.f. and then one from BH Cosmetics that is pretty new to me. This is the e.l.f. Opposites Attract palette. I have been obsessed with this. The quality is amazing and these shadows are super affordable. But yeah, they just give you a lot to work with, and I'm just gonna be using a few shades from this today as well as the other palette I'm gonna talk about. This is the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette. It is beautiful as well. It has lots of fun, colorful colors that I'm gonna try to play with today because I don't do a whole lot of color usually. But I'm gonna start trying. So we'll get into this one as well today. I'm gonna try zooming you guys in a little bit so I can start my eyes. Okay, hi. I'm gonna first go in with the e.l.f. palette, and I'm gonna use this shade right here, Fresh, just to kind of get an even transition shade to start with. I'm gonna be using the Morphe E23 brush. This is what it looks like. It's really fluffy, and I find it really good to lay down the first initial crease shades and just blend everything together. Okay, obviously that's not gonna do very much because we're just getting started, but again, I wanted that just like base down so the other shadows will go well on top of it. So now I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with the next shade. Next, these colors don't have names, but I'm gonna go in with this light pink color in the BH Cosmetics palette. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I did with the first shade, just blending it all over my eyelid to create that kind of ombre effect into the deeper colors that I'm gonna use in a minute. You kind of have to build them up. I haven't used too much in the BH palette, but that's kind of just what I've noticed so far, is that you don't get too much pigmentation upon like the first application. You kind of have to reapply it, which I don't mind as long as the color gets there. I kind of would rather prefer that in like more bright colors, so it's not just like a huge spot of pink or purple on your eye and you can't blend it out. Okay, so next I'm actually going to take this shade right here in the e.l.f. palette. Calm is what it's called. I'm going to use the Sigma E25 brush. This is what it looks like. It's still pretty fluffy, but it's a little bit more tapered because I'm going to be a little bit more precise with this color. Yeah, I don't think Sigma is technically drugstore, so I might be cheating with this one, but it's just the brush, so I mean. This is more of a grayish blue color, but I feel like with the look I have in mind, it's going to kind of tie it together, so we're just going to roll with it. I'm just taking that and kind of pressing it on the outer corner at first, and I'm going to try to blend it into the crease. And then I'm going to take the first brush that I used and the pink shade that I just used from the BH palette and just blend that out a little bit more to make it more seamless. Then I'm going to take the same brush that I just used in the BH palette. I'm going to use this purple shade right here and kind of just do the same thing that I did with the previous shadow, with placing it in the corner and then slightly blending it out into the rest of the crease. Now that we've got that blended out, I'm gonna once again go in with the first brush that we used. I'm gonna combine the fresh shade from the e.l.f. palette and the pink shade from the BH palette, and just blend that in the higher part of my crease to kind of just blend everything together. So we're kind of going for Ursula vibes today a little bit, it looks like. Okay, now that that is all blended out, I'm gonna go in with a flat shader brush from e.l.f. It's called a concealer brush. I would never use this for a concealer, but that's what it's called. This is what it looks like, and I'm just gonna use this to pack on this shade right here from the e.l.f. palette, Easy Going, this bright purple. We're just gonna pack this all over the lid and just see how it goes. So wish me luck on that one. It looks really pigmented on the brush, which is good. Oh wow, that's pretty. Oh, fallout. Ooh. It's okay, it's nothing we can't just wipe away. Okay, as you can see, there's a good bit of fallout underneath my eye. I don't know if that's picking up on camera. If that's something that bothers you, then some of these shades in the e.l.f. palette look like they do that. To me, it's not that big of a deal. I can just wipe it away and it looks like it's not leaving anything on the skin. To me, if the shadows are pigmented, then I don't really care if it has a little bit of fallout. That's just something to know if that bothers you. I'm gonna take the other Sigma brush that I use, the E25, and take the Calm shade, the like bluish shade from the e.l.f. palette, and blend out the top of that purple. Then I'm going to take the first brush and the pink shade from the BH palette and just blend that out a little bit more. And with every shadow, I'm just dragging the corner of my brush to the side of my eye to kind of create a cat eye effect. Okay, and then I'm going to take this angled brush from, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where. I'm pretty sure I got it from like an Amazon kit or something, and it's just like a really perfect like little angle. And I'm gonna take some of the concealer I used earlier and carve out a little like half cut crease kind of situation. We're gonna see how that goes because I've never done it before. So I'm gonna put a little bit of the concealer on the back of my hand and then just dip my brush into it that way. Okay, so now that that is carved out, I'm going to take this pink shade from the BH palette. It's a little shimmery, and I'm just gonna put that on with my finger and one of the flat brushes if that doesn't work out too well. I'm sorry, that was totally wrong. I'm actually going to then apply over that concealer this shade right here in the palette. It is called Clever. No, I'm gonna apply the shade Chill right here. Sorry, I'm super indecisive with this. I'm just gonna apply that with my finger, and if that doesn't work out too well, I'm gonna use one of the flat brushes. I'm gonna use this Makeup Geek brush. It is the small crease brush, and this is what it looks like. It's just a little tiny pointed brush. I'm gonna take that same shade Chill from the e.l.f. palette and just use that and put it on the concealer. Okay, I'm enjoying how this looks so far. It just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the other crease and do the other eye off camera. So now that that is on, I really am enjoying the way that it looks. This is how it's looking at the moment, and I really like it. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the brighter purple. I'm gonna use my NYX glitter glue. this is what it looks like. I'm obsessed with this glitter glue. I think it's great. And I'm just gonna apply this on the inner corners of my eyes and just kind of get it prepped for the glittery shade. Make sure it sticks really well on there. I'm just gonna put a little bit on my finger and then just dab it on the inner corners. Okay, and then again, just on the inner portion of my lids where I put that glitter glue, I'm gonna put this shade Clever from the e.l.f. palette on that place with the same brush that I used earlier, the Makeup Geek brush. Then I'm gonna take the first brush that I used once again and the pink shade and just blend everything out. Next, I'm going to take the e.l.f. concealer brush that I used earlier and the deep purple shade in the BH palette right here. Just add to the outer corners to kind of deepen up the look. Okay, so I am actually done with the top of the eyes now. This is what they look like. I'm gonna start on the lower lash line. I'm going to take the light purple that we were just using, this one right here, and I'm gonna use that to lower the lash line. Next, I'm going to use the next darkest purple that I've been using, this one right here in the BH palette, and just focus that more on the outer side of the underneath of the eyes. Okay, and lastly with underneath the eyes, I'm going to take the first fluffy brush that we used and the pink shade in the BH palette and just blend everything out. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to use this Makeup Geek brush I used earlier and take the white in the BH palette and use that to highlight the very inner corners. Just to kind of brighten it up in there a little bit. I'm gonna quickly apply a little eyeliner off camera and I will be right back. Okay, it looks a little bit different now, but I also added some eyeliner on the bottom and blended that out with the purple eyeshadow again. Next we're gonna go into highlighter. So I'm gonna be using the Morphe G23 fan brush for highlight. I just prefer fan brushes for highlighting. And I'm gonna be using the Balm Mary Luminizer highlight. Again, the Balm, it's technically, I don't know if it's drugstore, but it's very affordable prices, so I'm going to count it. And I highly recommend this to you guys. It's such a beautiful highlight for if you're more fair or more on like fair light side. And I'm just gonna apply this on my cheekbones. Wow, I love this highlighter. All right, and to set the face, I'm just gonna use the same, actually no, I'm gonna use the Mario Badescu face spray with aloe, herbs, and rose water. I'm obsessed with this stuff. It leaves you looking really glowy, which I kind of need right now. The foundation's making me look a little bit matte. And I'm gonna spray this just all over my face. That stuff I am obsessed with. It just makes your face feel so nice and refreshed. I don't feel like I have makeup on my skin, even though I have a lot on my skin. But yeah, now I'm just gonna go ahead and quickly curl my eyelashes and apply mascara. The mascara I'm gonna be using today is the L'Oreal Voluminous Original Mascara. I go through mascaras like water, and I usually like to try new ones. This one I have tried before and I really enjoy. I feel like it gives me a lot of volume and length. And since I typically don't wear false lashes, which I wish I had some for this look actually today, I feel like it would look really pretty. This gives me that false lash effect without having to actually wear them because I suck at applying them. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some mascara. I don't know if this is gonna be on camera or not because it might look kind of weird. All right, so I finished up with the mascara. Again, I feel like it would look a lot better with lashes, but again, I don't have them. I'm gonna put on this lip, which may seem a little strange with this eye look. I understand that. But again, I'm kind of going for the Ursula vibes, and she has red lips, so I'm going to apply this red lip. And we'll just see how it looks. And this is in the shade Kitten Heels. It's the NYX Liquid Suede lipstick. I added a little bit of the Balm Meet Matte Hues lipstick on top of it to make it a little less intense. It's in the shade Sincere. I really like the formula of these liquid lipsticks. All right, and this is the final look in natural lighting. I just wanted you guys to see a little more accurate representation of what it looks like, just because my lighting isn't the greatest. I have a little small ring light, but this is what it looks like, and yeah, let me know what you guys want to see next. I have a few plans for videos in the future, and I'll see you then.